Okay, all set, Leah?
Yeah.
I'd like to welcome everyone to a audit meeting for the Borough Town Board for September 28th, 2021. And ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Councilmember Hogan.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Kuzier.
Here. And I think we've got just about all the signatures on the vouchers,
Yes, we do.
except for those for discussion. And voucher 22064 for discussion. This is the, we've already addressed this issue. This is the purchase and installation of the culvert on Peter Road. If you recall, back in, just give a little history on it, the timeline for what we've done on that was back October of 2020, we had resolution 271, where we approved $334,560 from contact engineered solutions for the reconstruction of the Theodore Road culvert. And at the time, the highway superintendent recommended that we make that purchase. And if you recall, there was a board resolution so that we buy it out of the 2020 budget. Purchase order, if you recall, this year's discussion back in February was never received by my office as of last day of February, and so therefore no money from the 2020 budget was encumbered for the project. Then fast forward to June of this year, we had an opportunity to do that install at a dramatically reduced rate by utilizing a vendor on the county contract, county bridge and rail, where we were able to cut the cost of the culvert from the $334,560, which was not allocated for in the 2021 budget, down to $156,353.20. And so what we did is there were some items in the budget, one of them primarily being the amount allocated for a new mower for highway, and we pushed that off, and we were able to modify the budget by taking money from the blacktop Nova chip account for $10,000, and then using the amount allocated for the new tractor purchase, which was $145,630, to come up with the cost of the culvert so we could get it done this year. However, a week ago, my office received two vouchers for the Theodore Road culvert, one for $31,424.76 from Contact for the purchase of the box culvert, and another $142,790 from the vendor for the replacement. So if you add both those numbers together, it comes to $174,214.76, which is $17,861.56 in excess of what we were told the price of the culvert would be. And so now we have an additional cost. The work has already been done. We have a request for payment. So obviously this is the highway superintendent's issue with his budget. And my office asked him where we should find the monies to cover the additional cost of nearly $18,000. And it was articulated back to my office that he has no money. So I took that to mean that I would find the money. So that brings us to where we are in the conversation as to where I would suggest we take the money from to pay this outstanding bill. The work has already been completed. County has done the receipting. You know, we committed to sign to doing the work. So my recommendation would be to transfer funds, and I'll just go through my recommendation, and if somebody wants to move it afterward, we can do that. At this particular time, I would suggest transferring $10,000 from highway snow removal personal services $5,163.62 from highway improvements, cold in place recycling, $1,500 from highway general repairs, which is we use for trees, $1,197.94 from highway machinery liability insurance, and that would give you the total of $17,861.56, which would cover additional cost of the culvert and installation to be paid to the Contact Engineering Solutions. So we have a voucher before us. I haven't signed it. We're responsible for payment for it. You know, as we move forward, obviously we have no idea what the requirements will be for, or the needs will be for snow removal. But we can adjust the budget again if we have to, but to get this paid, that would be my recommendation.
So,
All right, do you need the account numbers on those? I have them. I don't read them directly.
I have it on here.
Okay, all right. So the motion would be to make those transfers from the accounts that are annotated with the clerk. And that would be transferred to account DB 5112.431, which is highway improvements culverts. So we move that. Is there a second by Councilmember Hogan? Seconded. Discussion.
so Mike, just a comment, we know that, as you mentioned, we need to fulfill our obligations to those that we contracted with. If the department head has a problem with movement of those funds, then he can come back with some recommended solutions or we need to be on.
We do have, I should also point out for discussion, under paving, we haven't paved Selfridge Road. So, you know, it got delayed because of COVID. We were supposed to do it last year. We didn't do it. We budgeted for it this year. What we could do is not pay as much of it, like 17,000 left or whatever we need to help, you know, pay, you know, reimburse the snow removal account. You know, we can have that conversation afterwards, and then we'll bring it up.
Yeah, it's hard to know the department head here, but the area's concerns on that topic, but we know we have the obligation to fulfill.
Right. So, you know, that's my recommendation. You know, it's not perfect, but at least meet the needs for any other discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. You have that voucher or
I have
something?
the original vouchers
Yeah,
here.
okay, so that have to be signed.
So do you want to cross all the calls, maybe you sign them wrong?
If you signed it, that's
You
fine.
did sign
Yeah,
it,
that's
okay, so you guys are just not signing.
Did we get to do this? We did?
No.
I thought it was either that or these. Yeah, this is a separate one.
Yeah.
I thought it was either do it A or B, but we didn't have to do both.
Right.
So we just took care of it.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it's not correct. It was option 2. No, that's to increase appropriation.
Right.
So we'll have to, we did the transfers, and now we have to do a separate one, increase appropriation. All right, so having made the a resolution to transfer funds. I'd entertain a motion to increase appropriations by $17,861.56 to account DB 5112.431, which is the highway.
So.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so we're all caught up on that one. And then we have the sewer transfer. Right? Okay. So I need authority to increase appropriations for sewer contractual, which is account G1 8110.4 in the amount of $30,000. And the purpose of this is to, if you recall, when we put the budget together last year, was prior to the full effect of the COVID pandemic. We also we're seeking grants for our sewer consolidation, which we hope to have wrapped up by the end of this year. And the annual payments to Glens Falls are higher, so this will allow us to cover those payments. So the motion would be to increase appropriations of $30,000 to account G1 8110.4 sewer contractual.
Second.
Any discussion?
Because that's what Paul's internet and his comments.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
It's going to be conference and his internet.
So this would be a motion to transfer funds for the purpose of paying internet services at the highway garage and we'll take that. So I entertain a motion that $500 be transferred from account 5010.401, which is general highway superintendent conferences, to account A5010.425, which is general highway superintendent internet. So move. Sorry. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next one is to transfer $3,000 from account A1620.401 general buildings town hall to account A1620.4, which is general buildings contractual. And this is to cover payments for services charged to the general building and grounds account. So moved. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And the final one would be which we already did for the increase in appropriations, but we got to do the transfer. And it would be a motion to transfer $15,000 from account A 1990.4, which is general contingent account, to account 1620.4 general interfund transfers capital project fund. And this is for the sewer capital project fund for monies not reimbursed by the EFC. So any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, we're all done on transfers. Now let's do vouchers. All the vouchers have necessary signatures.
We're going to be able to move the project.
And do that. So, oh, this is for this year.
Yes,
What was the issue with this one?
the contract.
Contract's not signed.
Right.
Well, we haven't signed the contract, so we can't pay it.
Okay.
And we'll be discussing that until the meeting.
Okay.
That'll have to be left out.
Okay. Yes. Well,
Because that was work completed after the expiration of the contract. So we'll have to, it can't be included in the warrant.
Right.
All right.
All right,
Okay, you got
That's it.
anything else?
that's all I have.
Entertain a motion to pay the bills as audited. So moved.
Sorry. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. All right, thank you very much, Tammy.
You're welcome, thank you.
Jamie. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Yeah, motion to close the audit.
Yes.
Motion to close the audit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, we'll get started with the regular town board meeting for September 28, 2021. And ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Hogan.
Here.
Councilmember Van Tassel.
Here.
Councilmember Donahue.
Here.
Supervisor Lucier.
Here, and ask that everyone please rise for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item 1 is approval of minutes. We've got 3 sets, 2 from August 24th, 2021, which include an audit meeting and the regular town board meeting. And then we have a set from September 14th for the regular town board meeting.
Can we separate the 14th from the,
Sure, so I entertain a motion, and I think I have a motion to do approve August 24th, 2021 as a second.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? They are approved. And then a motion to move the minutes for September 14th, 2021.
Motion to approve that. September 4th, 2021.
Is there a second?
Katie?
All in favor?
Yes.
Abstain.
Opposed? Motion carries.
It's not August 24th, I wasn't here for that meeting. So.
Okay.
Just,
That's okay.
Item 2 on the agenda is the just a brief update on COVID. As we've customarily done for a number of months now, providing update to our residents on the level of vaccinations here in the county. Number of individuals age 12 and older with at least 1 vaccine dose is now 84.5%. The percentage of the population that are age 18 and older that have received at least 1 dose is 85.2%. And the number of seniors 65 and older is now 95.8% have received 1 dose. Series complete, age 12 and older is currently 79.8%. 18 and older is 80.6%, and seniors 65 plus is 90.3%. Our 7-day rolling average percentage positivity rate is currently 2.9%, which is dramatically lower than the last time we had our board meeting, and there are currently 350 active cases in the county. We had, actually I'll give you the numbers for town of Monroe. For town of Monroe, the number of active cases is currently 26, and the village of South Glens Falls, the number of active cases is 7. I was on the phone today with Commissioner Dan Cools, who heads up the county's public health department, and I had asked for a booster clinic here in the town of Monroe, and he has agreed to hold one for the third dose on October 7th. It'll be here at Town Hall from 9 to 3:30. And again, this will be for individuals that are qualified, if you will, to receive the third dose, meaning it's been greater than 6 months since they've received the second dose of the Pfizer. If you recall, those that have received the Moderna vaccination, the recommendations from the CDC are not yet available. They're still doing the research on that. So, and we, at my request, there was actually a vaccination clinic held at St. Michael's, which was pretty well attended, and I want to thank St. Michael's for their willingness to allow the town to utilize the parish there. So thank you to Father Tony Childs on that. We have an COVID update. Item number 3 on the agenda is the solar pilot agreement. If you recall, the town received a letter from Nexamp Incorporated with their Baker's Falls Solar LLC project in the industrial park. And in that, the town was required to take action as to whether or not we would be utilizing a pilot program. If you recall, I had authority from the board to let them know that we would be entering into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement in connection with this particular project. And as everyone knows, it has been included in our draft solar law. And this particular project is working its way through the planning board. I think there's before the planning board again last month.
Yes.
So what we really need to do is we need to get that local law in place, because this is on its way, so that we are ready for when that project is completed. So my recommendation would be to move forward with the pilot law and ask council to have that ready for our next board meeting.
I can do that.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Do you need a resolution on that, or?
No, you just need to let me know.
All right, so we don't want to get behind the curve on that. And so that'll require all the, the public hearing and all that before we can adopt that. So we've got, it's going to be a little bit of a process.
It is. I can have the law to you for the next meeting. At the next meeting, if you want, set a public hearing for.
Okay, so the board members can take a look at it.
Right.
Okay.
And I can work with Leah on that as well.
Item 4 on the agenda is Town Road landfill. I received a call late last night from Steve Aquario. Everyone may know Steve. He is currently the executive director of the Association of Counties. And he wanted to make me aware that the state has been cataloging various environmental issues across the state, and one of them that they have highlighted as a priority one for remediation is the Town of Monroe closed landfill. And so he strongly recommended that the town board be in support of seeking cost recovery for the remediation. He will be working with the federal government to seek out grant funds, as well as with New York State. And he's reaching out to those townships that, well, all of them that are included in the report, but the priority is those that are priority 1 and town road is one of those priorities. And this is in an effort to protect the groundwater. And so I told him that I'd bring it up to the board, make them aware of it. I will provide board members, I just printed it tonight, received it late last night or this morning, the New York State Inactive Landfill Initiative. This was the result of the Clean Water Infrastructure Act of 2017. So it's been an ongoing project for a number of years. This is dated May 2021, but obviously it just came out yesterday for our availability. So I would strongly recommend that the town borough be supportive in seeking cost recovery for remediation funds. So that would require a resolution, correct?
Well,
Let's see if I got it. So I would entertain a motion that the town is in support of seeking cost recovery funds for the purpose of remediation of our inactive landfill, which has been designated as a priority under the New York State Inactive Landfill Initiative, dated May 2021. That work?
that would be fine.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor? Opposed?
So, yeah, so in my discussion, I'm assuming that a state agency is looking at our landfill and saying, we need to be doing something more to preserve the water source.
So I haven't had a chance to get all the way through it, the report, but in skimming the executive summary, I think a lot of it has to do because of our closed landfills proximity to Hudson River. I think that's probably what's driving, although I haven't gotten to that part of the report. But we'll get board members after this, so that you can take a look at it.
Great. So the vote,
We voted right or no?
did it, okay. Who's yes, but I just want to make sure it was done.
Okay. We're good. All right, water department. We will have council probably articulate a little bit better than I can. Town attorney's been working with my office as well as the town clerk's office to draft the deferred payment agreement, which statutorily we're required to make available to our residents as a result of, was it executive order or enacted legislation?
It's enacted legislation.
And we have a draft, which I think, have you looked at this, Leanne? Did you have any comments on it? So within that draft, we need to, by resolution, probably approve it or.
So if you'd like, I can kind
Sure.
of go through it. So
And this is your end.
as you may recall, in the midst of the pandemic, the legislature created a law, the utility moratorium. So in any public utilities, not sewer, but water and electricity, if you could self-certify that you could not pay, changing financial circumstances because of the COVID pandemic, then the municipality and any other provider, like National Grid or whatnot, was required to offer you a deferred payment agreement. And the state of emergency did expire in June, but the law as written in March of 2021 extended that moratorium or that protection for 6 months after the state of emergency ended. So currently, it's still December 21st is the last day of that additional 6 months. Everybody got in their water bills, everyone got a notice advising of this and saying, if you feel that you are entitled to this or you need help, please advise. Leanne did receive one request for the deferred payment agreement. What you have before you is a form agreement, and it needs a couple things from you folks. Number one, you have the right to have the agreement go as long as you want. Some municipalities are having the agreement go only until December 21st. Some are having it go longer. That's up to the board. That's the first question we have for you. The second question is you can see it gives the option to the customer to either make monthly payments or to defer full payments until the end of the deferment period. What this does is it permits them to work with the town to pay what they can. The town cannot terminate service during this time. The town cannot assess late fees or penalties. The town cannot re-levy. That's all incorporated in the law, provided the person enters into this agreement. So what you have before you is the agreement, and I just need answers to those two questions. And then you would need approval for the customer that has requested the agreement.
So we have to approve the agreement.
So let me know those two questions. Once those are done, then approve the form agreement. And then you would give the clerk, I would assume that's up to the board, the authority to negotiate with the customer a monthly payment schedule. So, yes.
I understand the first question, but I really wasn't clear on what the actual question was. You said there's two options. Is the question whether or not they want to offer?
Yes.
Okay.
Happy moving forward with this, offering, additional time to people. The question is, how much time?
Right.
And by law, it looks like December 21st is the day,
Well, no, you can go beyond December 21st.
right?
Some municipalities are going to December 21st because that's when the moratorium itself ends.
Yeah.
But you can always get deferred payment agreements. You always have the opportunity to do so. This one just, you can have smaller time period because of the moratorium.
My personal position would be to align with the moratorium ends. And I'm okay with two options.
I'm good with that. The only other option I would have said was December 31st, which basically is the end of the year. I'm assuming the end of the fiscal year. And that's just 10 days beyond what law requires.
I don't have a problem with it.
I remember the first year.
Yeah.
So have the agreements go to December 31st?
And if I may, the particular situation that we're dealing with, I looked into it, I thought there may have been a hardship there. And in reviewing the history of payments for multiple years, like 5 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, am I accurate? This has been, it has always rolled over to the real property tax paid by the county, so therefore it's always been paid by the restaurant. So this is not an uncommon practice in this particular situation.
Understood, however,
Oh, I understand, no, we have to do it, but
as long as they sign
the
some.
one instance where we're doing this, it's not.
Yeah, that's the only part of the law that makes it different from other deferred payments is all they have to do is self-certify, and you can't actually go into their financials to ascertain whether it is a hardship.
Yeah. So do you have your answers?
I have my answers. You're in agreement with the language?
Yep.
I made those two changes. And then we don't need to indicate the individual's name, but the customer that is requested, you're approving, you would approve the agreement and you would give authorization to sign it.
Yep. So I signed it.
You sign it.
So then the resolution would be to adopt the Town of Rural Water Deferred Payment Agreement as discussed and authorize the supervisor to sign, is it the agreement
Yes, for the individual.
for the individual customer who has currently filed.
Those are two separate actions.
Those are, I would want to,
Okay.
one resolution for the blanket, that you were okay with the document, and then one for the approval for the individual
Can
customer.
I ask if, I'm assuming that only one person in this town is out asked for this. Is there a possibility that others might be?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so do we need a resolution to say we adopt this and that for future reference or future applicants, the supervisor will be authorized to sign that, or do we need to see each and every one?
each and every one.
Okay.
So the first one's just, so if the first one was just to authorize the agreement as stated, then, motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Part two.
Authorizing the supervisor to sign, the one that was discussed, name not mentioned, second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Okay, so there's one item. The next item is from our water superintendent requesting the purchase of 48 radio read water meters, 5/8 inch in service for new housing. There's only one vendor for this master meter, Ferguson Waterworks, Clifton Park, and he's requesting to expend $10,704, which I believe is $223 each. And this purchase will be made from account 8310.2, which has a current balance of $17,200 in it.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. The second part of his request is for a trailer, a 5x10 trailer for their lawnmower. He has three quotes, one from Versatile Trailer Sales, Wilton for $1,946, Lowe's for $17.99, and Tractor Supply for $19.99. This account will be paid from account 8310.2, which is what we just authorized a reduction of $10,704 for purchase of meters in. So that means it's presently $6,496. He's recommending that the purchase from Versatile Sales take place.
Wasn't it supposed to be purchased last year?
So the town board authorized this purchase in the 2020 budget, and it could have had taken place. We authorized on October 15th of that year, and it was not purchased. But because we had authorized it, we did not budget for it this year. So my recommendation would be, because it is off budget, that we build it into the 2022 budget.
He's proposing this come out of the
Same account, which was for the purchase of meters. I think the request for meters was much higher than that. Well, total, when we put the budget together, there was a request for an allotment of more than 48 meters. And this is a user fee-based account, so when we put those budgets together, it impacts the rate.
So your recommendation basically, not, don't move on this and that we budget for 2022. That's fine. Other than, I'm under the impression that currently he uses his own trailer and
So I was just made aware of that yesterday and realized we were, that should not, for many different reasons.
right, no, I get that, but I'm also hoping that, at this time of the year, there's another trailer around that like Rec might have a trailer that they might be able to use for transporting this. And that we can utilize that to get the equipment around, or also get to the end of the season for mowing, so it's kind of like, it'll be okay, I think.
So, some more comment, I'd like to have initially suggest we budget to get our next budget in light of this other information that just recently become available. Reserve the right to bring it back to the table if we're left with no trailer, then we need it, right? So for right now, for tonight, I'm not anxious to move on it. Let's get the rest of the story through. If somebody uses a personal trailer, we really need one between now and the end of the year. Not that
Okay. So we will table that request for a moment. The water committee, I believe, is working on getting us our description of the clerk for water superintendent, so we'll get that posted. Well, I know it's already on the website, but I asked my office to get it out and then some other stuff. Reach a lot.
We'll get that going and we will sort of get some interviews.
Item 6 on the agenda is a request for an out-of-district user to be part of our sewer district. We have been working with Skimmerhorn Residential Holdings LP for some time. Our special counsel's been working with their counsel. We now have, and I should say, the town engineer, to make sure the document includes the necessary information before the town board authorizes me to sign the agreement. So my recommendation this evening would be to that a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign the agreement to supply sewer service to property outside of the sewer district, which is described in the agreement, subject to final approval by town council. That we're doing this.
And, well, you do need the authorization for you to sign, but you also need approval of the agreement.
Okay.
That you approve to enter into the agreement, and then you have authorization to sign the agreement.
So, as you're aware, there's been a lot of back and forth on the agreement. I saw a response at 5:45 today. But I'm not sure if it was in relation to the initial questions asked.
I agree. So what I would recommend is approval of the concept, and then authorization, but upon attorney review, authorization to sign upon.
So we need two lists.
Yes.
I'll work the first one.
Yes, you need a motion to authorize the acceptance of the outside sewer district agreement.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Now you need authorization for the supervisor to sign the agreement after final attorney review.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, so we're all done on that issue. Excellent. Item 7, transfer station. We have a request to make repairs to the loader that we utilize for assisting operations down there and pulling the bins that are not, well, pulling the bins and also packing the open tops. We had the loader, the leak in the hydraulic cylinders have become much more severe. And so staff down there reached out to get 3 quotes for the repair. And the first one he has is for BJP Enterprises out of Gansford for close to, I think this is close to $1,800. And there's a 3 to 4 day turnaround. He reached out to Motive Power and Paint on Warren Street in Glens Falls. They said that there'd be a 1 to 2 week turnaround, and they did not give a price. And we also reached out to New Hampshire Hydraulic, where they indicated it would be 17 to 22 working days turnaround, and it would be approximately $2,000. The recommendation is to go with PJ Enterprises. The account this would be paid from is transfer TS 8160.4, which has a balance at the end of the third quarter of $64,256.73.
Motion to approve going with that BJP Enterprises at a price of,
Do you want to make it not to exceed 1950, because it's a little over the 18,
that
because it's got a plus or minus in that. I want that.
I get that. So we'll even get it done. So you say 1950 or? Okay.
Because the other next closest is 2000, you still want it to be in.
Right, but it's also looking at 3 to 4 days versus 17 to 20.
Yeah.
So a motion to go with BJP Enterprises to repair hydraulic cylinders on loader at the transfer station at a price not to exceed $1,950.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
You know what, something about that, we keep putting money into that piece of junk down there, transfer station. Things have got trapped away, the wheels are breaking on it, tires are bald. You know, we really have to think about what we're gonna do about a loader down there. Personally, I wouldn't get it. The thing is, it's just a fucking adults and, no, I think it's, we gotta do something right now, $17,800, I guess, to keep it moving along. But I think we really have to be serious about this budget time, doing something replacing that down there. That thing's used on a daily basis. It's not something that's just used every now and then. It's used to move the leaves and the brush and all that stuff, and get the contractors cleaned out and stuff. So, you know, it's a necessary piece of equipment, and it's really poor condition. You have to take a look at that. I think the budget time, but as far as this goes, I'm in favor. We have to do something to get that lower.
I'm willing to entertain all options. The challenge for the town is this is a user fee based account. We budgeted $135,000 for that. I dare say that no machine probably we use close to that. So, you know, what do you do about rates? I mean, you have to keep your rates competitive. So, you know, I'm open to all suggestions on it, but there's a fine line for what we charge for rates before people go elsewhere, and then we have to increase our rates even higher in order to stay in business. And the other thing is, I want the board to be cognizant of that budget is subsidized by Saratoga County. We get an infusion of $35,000, which, you know, I expect it'll be here at least for next year, since I'm chairman of the board, but you know, we can't become completely reliant on it because it may not always be there. And we get that to run the recycling center for the residents. So it's a tough budget. I'm open to any ideas how to, you know, get a better piece of equipment in there, but we need to be sensitive. That's a user fee based fund that we have to come up with and pay for.
And that's understandable. I want to be sensitive to the need for the employees down there, for the health and safety of the employees down there. That is not a safe piece of equipment. And I don't want it on my head that somebody got hurt down there because we didn't take any action. That's not a good point.
Well, I didn't say we wouldn't take action on it, so I'm open to all ideas. But, you know, they have to be economically feasible. I'll consider anything that works. So, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8 on the agenda, we have received a request from Jack Hall Plumbing and Heating Incorporated to consider a Route 9 PUD. And just briefly, want to make, at least for the record, make the public aware of what they're proposing. And I think we have individuals in the room that probably could answer any questions on it. They're well aware that the town of Monroe is looking to update its local zoning town-wide. And the timing on that is still a little ways out. And so they are requesting, because there's an unknown there as to what that updated zoning plan will look like. And they are indeed now expanding their business, and they'd like to relocate it to that location on Route 9 between Merritt Road and Jacoby Road. It's just over, or just under 8¼ acres, I believe. And the role of the town board this evening is not to approve or disapprove the request, but we are required, once we have formally received the request, to forward it to the planning board for review. So before we take action on that, you know, would you like to add anything to that request?
Sure. I don't know, is this on?
I think so. The button's pressed. Green light on? There you go.
No. Yeah, so just for the record, Justin Grassi, attorney with Jones Teams, I represent the applicant. The applicant here as well. Ty Hall, he's the president and owner of Jack Hall Plumbing Incorporated. Just as the supervisor suggested, he would love to have the flexibility to wait for what we believe the town board will ultimately do is an update, amend current zoning ordinance. And we believe, and based on the commercial activity along Route 9 in this quarter, this particular corridor, that the end result of that zoning ordinance would likely permit what we're proposing anyway. This board might be aware that one of the only reason that we necessarily have to come before you now for a planned unit development committee is because the current zoning ordinance provides that while professional offices are permitted in this corridor, so if I were coming before this board, actually I'm coming before the planning board, seeking an office for myself as an attorney, I would simply be able to have a site plan review and get that approved with the planning board. Unfortunately, there is differentiation between professional offices and what we have in this instance, which would be a plumbing and heating office. So a PUD in this instance is before you because regretfully, Jack Hall, fortunately for Jack Hall, I suppose, they continue to grow in the facility. Now, they can't wait, they definitely cannot wait for zoning ordinance, they use your route here. So we put before you a PUD, and the PUD, the form itself largely mimics what this town board has approved in the past as far as PUDs, and incorporates some of the zoning metrics, those building metrics, your setbacks and the green space in the impervious area, similar to what would be the C1 district. So we're in the C3. Currently, we added the 2 uses that we need, that being regular office use, as well as the storage of our vehicles, and included that as part of this new legislation. So as this board is, I'm sure, aware, really what we are doing here is creating essentially a zoning district in and of itself, a planned unit development district that would allow us to operate as such. Now the applicant Ty Hall has been in the community for some time. This PUD is 9 parcels in between Merritt and Jacoby roads, and the applicant lived just couple doors down for 28 years and now lives within the PUD itself, and he intends to continue to do so, as does his family. What you'll see in here as exhibits are some proposed renderings, some proposed site plans of what this could look like. Granted, some of the detail will need to come out during the site plan review process before the planning board. This is kind of idea phase to see if the PUD works generally. But the intent is that the look, the feel will remain kind of a residential feel, kind of a community barn type structure. But would allow all of those 25 employees to utilize this facility locally. So otherwise, I think the metrics kind of speak for themselves, and legislation kind of speaks for itself. We're happy to give any additional information, and we also would love any comments and suggestions. So.
Yeah, and I should add, I don't know if maybe you said it, I know I didn't, that you're looking to construct a 25,000 square foot new facility there for the purpose of expanding operation, relocating and expanding operations. And as I indicated, our charge tonight is to refer to the planning board. Once they go through their due diligence and review, this will come back to the town board where there will be extensive back and forth with the applicant. I guess if you have a few questions for tonight, we have to take action either way and direct it. But I don't know if anybody wants to talk. Yeah, okay, this time.
Well, no, so we've had conversation in the past. My only thought was, update the map. His house is in here now, right?
Yes.
So, and there's some trees that are missing, but beyond that, no, I wouldn't say I want to go with the planning board.
Yeah, I'm anxious to get it through the process. I know that Ty has been patient. I'm glad to see it's moving through the channel.
As everybody.
Can I ask one question? It's only in the commercial district, it's not in the R1 district at all?
No, I believe you are. I believe you're correct. Where the proposed facility is would fall within just the C3 district as we propose it. The PUD lines themselves would extend back into the residential district.
Okay. The reason I ask is that PUDs are not permitted in the R1 district. And that's, I mean, it'll still be referred over, but if you look, Justin, at 14927, they're not permitted in the R1 and the RP district, and I believe the M1 district. But I mean, that's something they can speak to any board about.
Sure. And I guess we thought it made sense to include, I guess, those rear residential lots for purposes of buffer in PUD itself. I don't believe it's necessary that we actually even include those. So if we wanted to strike them entirely and reduce that PUD area just to those lots which front on Route 9, I believe we could do that and still maintain the facility.
And that's something you can speak to, and that wouldn't be this board, but just to put it on your radar.
Sure, thank you.
Any other questions?
So I would entertain a motion to refer the PUD application submitted this evening by Jack Hall Plumbing and Heating Incorporated to the plan.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
Get it up. Item 9, I just put item 9 on there. Last board meeting, we were discussing the contract for building administrator, and there was one request for a change. I'm not sure if I was going to look at it.
I did look at it, and I actually was emailing with the zoning administrator, and I have some concerns.
Okay, all right. So we're not going to move forward on it this evening, but I don't know if that was there or not. So
No, we were just emailing.
okay.
Or something.
All right. Item 10 is a highway department. Got a request. Highway superintendent to purchase $19,000 worth of diesel fuel. Actually received it at 10:03 today. By policy, the department had a request was supposed to be submitted by noon on Friday as part of the board meeting. Makes it kind of challenging when we're putting agendas together, but So I brought it up for discussion today, this evening. This would be under state contract, state contract, number PC 69482, which covers 8/27/2021 through 8/24/2023. It is in the amount of $19,000, and this will be paid from account DB 5142.460, which has a balance as of today of $24,981.81. Somebody like to do that.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I do have information I received regarding a fleet card program, but I have questions on it, and
What is it?
the fleet card program for emergency use. I guess it's like a credit card.
For fuel vehicles.
Yeah. But I need more information on that, so I can take action tonight because I'm not really sure what's going on there, but we'll bring it up again. I received notification from CSEA, which is a union that represents our highway employees, non-elected, and they are they're serving formal notice of their intent to initiate negotiations for a contract with the highway employees, which sunsets on 12/31 of this year. And within that, they're requesting 3 items. They would like a most recent updated list of all employees in the bargaining unit. They would also like to know if the employee received longevity, please indicate the amount. And then the third item is they would like a summary of the plan documents for all health insurance plans and the health insurance rates for individual coverage, 2-person and coverage, which is the reason why I'm bringing that up. My office had reached out to the insurance committee, see if they're interested in meeting. I've already met with our service provider, and I wanted to make sure that the committee, if they're interested, and I can meet with them as well. I don't know if you do or not.
I read through the paperwork,
So I don't think we
I don't feel like.
All right, so, all right, then we will we'll move forward with a recommendation on that, and once we decide at the board what we're going to do, then we get that information to the highway department. We can start. I'd like to, for budgetary purposes, I'd like to, because we gotta have salaries and stuff in the budget. I'd like to get that worked out sooner rather than later. As you know, statutorily, we got to adopt the budget on November 20th. I have to release it to the public on Thursday, and we got a long way to go then. So,
Thursday this week?
yes. Oh, yes, it's great. And I have some department heads that are less than helpful, and my office is actually working on putting those departments budgets together. So we're going to get it done, but you know, I want to at least hit things off as quick as possible. We get an agreement on health insurance. We get those numbers plugged in the budget, and we can start the negotiations and wrap this up in time. So I want to make you aware of that. I think that's all I have for highway supervisor items. I want to let the board and the public know that I received correspondence dated September 17th from the Office of Saratoga County Treasurer. Says, dear supervisors, mayors, and assessors, as you know, the state legislature has recently enacted legislation, Senate Bill 1453-B, same as A 6225-A, which extends the statewide moratorium on utility cutoffs. The legislation also directly and significantly impacts the assessment and collection of taxes in all towns, cities, villages throughout the county. Purpose of this correspondence is to ensure that you and the town officials involved with tax assessment and collection are aware of this recent legislation. Recently, the New York State Public Service Commission published updated guidance relating to the COVID-19 moratorium on utility service terminations and disconnections. A version of this guidance, the corrected guidance, are available on the Public Service Commission's website. Please be aware that failure to appropriately amend your town or municipality's tax collection practices to align with the moratorium will impact the treasurer's ability to reconcile the bills and properly re-levy utilities. We encourage you to speak with the town council and tax collection officers regarding the above referenced legislation. Is our goal in providing this information to ensure countywide compliance with new legislation and avoid unnecessary corrections to tax bills that are impacted by this moratorium. Signed, Andrew Jarash, County Treasurer, and Ann Stanko, the Director of Property Tax Services.
Isn't that basically with the water?
Yes, that's exactly what you guys are on top of it.
And received correspondence with the New York State Department of Labor regarding expanded legal obligations under New York State prevailing wage laws. It's going up. And will that impact the sewer project that's already under contract?
It shouldn't,
That's what
it shouldn't, it's already in the contract,
okay.
but the contractors are responsible for looking at the prevailing wages.
So then we don't, because they're contracted, it will not rest on us to ensure that the employers are paying for them.
That's on the employers.
All right. So I don't have to read that now. Want the board to be aware that as we're moving through the sale of 61 Hudson, I okayed MC Environmental Services to come in and do the environmental review on that, let us know what's there, and let us know what we have to do to get it out. You guys authorized that, what at the time we authorized the supervisor to sign the sale agreement. And that was $95 per hour, not to exceed $190 with additional $75 for optional written report. And I want written report for that position.
So they
So
give you an inspector when they can get it done.
they want the keys tomorrow. So,
Very
yeah. So I think our rec leader has a key for that building, right? At least it is.
I'm hoping it's not that much.
No.
All right, so there's received an email from Vicki Brown, who's confidential secretary of the Department of Social Services at Saratoga County, and she was passing along on behalf of Commissioner Potter updated information regarding the heat season. And this year's heat program is opening on October 1st. 2021, which is earlier than normal. Anybody needs additional information on that, just reach out to my office. I have that information. You guys haven't received it, I think you did, get your copy. The question came up because we no longer have a substitute crossing guard. Do we want to advertise for substitute crossing guard? Because we backfilled somebody who retired with the substitute crossing.
I think so, yes.
I would guess so.
Need a resolution on
Well, to advertise.
that? All right. Let's move.
Motion to authorize advertising for substitute crossing there. As well as, you know, posting our vehicles like the Indeed site and the website.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Have correspondence from Town of Queensbury Water and Wastewater Department. It says, Mr. Kuzniers, the actual cost of production of water for 2020 was $1.09 per 1,000 gallons, which equates to $1.04 per 1,000 gallons plus the 5-cent transmission cost. The year 2020 budget rate was $1.17 per 1,000 gallons. And this gives us a credit of 8 cents per 1,000 gallons for the year 2020. So the meter use for 2020 was 220,040,500 gallons times the credit So we will be credited on our fall bill $17,603.20. Practically. Sales tax distribution, received notice of that September 16th. Countywide sales tax receipts were just under $12.2 million. And this is about over 19% higher than what we did for September last year. At the town of Monroe, we just received a sales tax check of $310,869, which is significantly above last year, which was $263,521. But if you look and compare to the previous year where we had prior to COVID, where we had $295,624, we're up about 5%. So we're in the zone where we should be for budgeting purposes and funding our various accounts. But it's good news, it's going in the right direction now. The town has deposited $125,000 into our account from DASNY, and this was the grant that I applied for and we received from Carrie Werner for a spray pad. And she's been incredible. Her and her staff's been great to work with. I'm actually working with her to secure funding for the county's transition to full service public health department. There's about $3 million available in the state budget for that purpose. I've met with her as recently as 2 weeks ago, and we're the only county in the process of that transition. So I told her I'd like $3 million for that. So we'll see how that goes. But good news.
Yes, that is right.
It took several years to get that taken care of. Leanne has received correspondence in relation to our elections at the middle school. Middle school is saying that even though they agreed back in January, the district to allow use of the middle school on election day, they are saying the rooms are being utilized, and therefore they can only offer us the foyer. Spoke with the commissioner of Board of Elections today. And this is really an issue between Board of Elections and the school district. We're not really involved, and I know Lean's happy to hear that. So they need to work it out. I said I'd be willing to provide any assistance that may be helpful, but we'll see where we go with that. Probably, I don't know if you read the paper, I know it's on the news. There was a hazmat response on Old Saratoga Road last evening. So I got the call from the Saratoga County Office of Emergency Services Commissioner to let us know that there's fire equipment activity on Old Saratoga. I was kept updated through the entire evening. It ended up that Saratoga County hazmat team, as well as Momentos hazmat team, both responded to a complaint of a foul smelling odor. And at 7 o'clock last evening, they did a reverse 911, let the residents in that area know to stay indoors, close their windows, remain in their homes until the all clear was given. The all clear was given at 12:45 last night. After response by the hazmat teams, county sheriff's office, they actually flew a drone over it, trying to find out the source of it. And what it was tear gas. They were doing training at the closed McGregor prison, the Office of Correctional Services. They did not make me aware of it. I think the state police were made aware of it. And this is not the first time it's been a problem for our residents. So I placed a call to the Deputy Commissioner of Docks this afternoon. I have not heard back, but I hope to have a conversation with her tomorrow. But, you know, for now, it's back to normal. I think I got a little bit too fast going on. And so I have been interviewed by Times using Channel 10 for that. That's all I have for supervisor items. Committee reports. I think there's one thing I need. No, you won't go into it.
No, I can speak to it briefly.
Yeah. So I don't think I have anything.
I can give you some updates from personnel committee. So the department heads and building, our building inspector, along with our zoning administrator, vetted out resumes and have them narrowed down to 4 or 5 if this is a clerk position. So their task is to present them to the personnel committee. As soon as they're ready, we'll step it in there and hopefully fill that position. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to interview a candidate to present himself for the water superintendent position. And we'll get that posted information over the clerk's office on that.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm gonna say rec, but it's not necessarily directly rec. It has to do with community gardens. Peter's been approached by Shelley Wise, who's a gardener in Warren County. She's a master gardener and is looking for, well, they talked about area out here by the old substation out front of us, to do a community garden out here by, I guess, the historian's office now. And although there's still things to be worked out, there's a deadline for her to apply for a grant. And that deadline is October 1st. I told Peter I'll bring it up at our meeting here, and I've talked to a few members, and Alan reached out to Gina to find out what some of the fire problems like that with the community garden at the rec, and what issues we would be looking at. My feeling is that we should allow this to go forward, but that Shelley Wise should have that opportunity to apply for the grant. If she gets the grant and can buy the things necessary for this, that we would allow them to be doing this out here. With the understanding that if it gets where it's overridden with weeds and doesn't look good, we're gonna remove it. But Peter and she were kind of looking for permission from the board to go ahead and have that community garden out front there between this building and the substation.
Just a couple of additional thoughts, not changing anything that Councilman Hogan just said. The only other, if the ask is just can she go apply for the grant, then I'm very supportive of that. My position is that if she gets the grant, then she has to do that with the understanding we're going to have to set some ground rules around it. And based on the fact that we've done this before, and it's a great idea, but we've got some lessons we learned from the past. So.
And I agree with that.
Yeah, so as long as that we're not saying yes, go do it, we're very supportive of it. Get the grant, if you get it, then we'll talk about some guidelines just to protect ourselves and learn from the past. And I'm supportive of it as long as we don't repeat some of the same things.
Right, and yeah, I think it's a great idea. We did have some issues that need to be addressed. My preference would be that, you know, we have so much land available at rec. I'd really like it to be down there, or actually probably more people would see it, maybe, you know, pique some interest, greater interest versus right out here as you come in.
Well, I think that Bridget Martin was actually in favor of this here, and when people reached out to Shelley Wise, and that they were working along that line. There was also the idea that this is not a fest area, so people can come in at their leisure, so to speak, to take care of it versus in at the rec where it's fenced in and shut down for certain hours.
We could do it out back too.
Yeah.
You know.
Then we can work
Well,
out.
we also was water up here.
Oh, we'll put irrigation.
We can work out all the details if she gets the money.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly supportive also, and I think to Alan's point is that, there are some guidelines and some things we want to get in order first before we put the stamp of approval on it, so.
So I guess my thought is, do we need a resolution to say, yes, go ahead and apply for the grant? We are supportive of the community garden. But, you know, if it is in fact, you do get the monies, we'll set that, we need to
So
set that.
who's doing the actual application?
My understanding was Shelley Wise.
She's not a town employee.
No, she's, working with the rec. So does it need to be done through the rec?
Is the applicant the town of Monroe?
No, to my knowledge, no. She
Who's the
just, she's just,
applicant?
I was under the impression it was this master gardener workout that wanted an area to be able to do a community garden in the town of Monroe.
I guess that, I think it's a great idea, but the concern I have is that she's not a town employee, she's not contracted with the town for anything. It's not as though we're just saying, can, you know, we have authority to apply for a grant. I would think if you want to give her authority, so you can't give her authority to do anything, because she's not under your control.
Can we have, either our rec leader or another town employee apply for the grant jointly with?
I would think so. I think,
And then we authorize the employee.
I think you wanna know, yes, I think Pete could probably apply for the grant with her. You wanna know what kind of grant it is. I mean, do you know anything about the grant? Is it in kind? Is it you have to use it if you get it, or do we know anything like that?
I know very little about it, but I'm under the impression that this one is through local business, common roots. That might be, and I don't know what the
So you know what my recommendation would be, probably the cleaners that, the local business offered to sponsor this project. And we agree to let them sponsor it, and then whoever wants to be involved in making it happen makes that happen. So that'd be the easier way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to apply for the grant, you can't say yes, no, or maybe.
I think that she was just looking for our support for the future if she actually did get this money.
We like the concept.
That's, yeah,
So
right.
that- So that if she did get these monies, that she could in turn have this garden on community or on our property.
So I think what you can say to her might be that you are supportive of the concept. And that's the most you can do. You're supportive of the concept.
So we don't have a resolution for that. Okay, so I will reach out to Peter and let him know
Okay.
that we're supportive of the concept.
And get greater details on the grant.
And if, well, so, I guess my question would be, for supportive of the concept, can we make a resolution that says that Peter can apply for this grant through the recreation? Sure.
Other questions for me?
That might be your reading,
I'm reading the email from her,
okay,
but she doesn't actually request permission to apply for a grant. She just wants the board, permission from the board to reestablish the garden on town property.
which it used to be over at the rec.
Correct.
What if she personally gets the grant and then comes to us and says, I've got $2,000, starting money, you guys want to help me out?
Yeah, that's all that we can do later on. It sounded like she needed something from the town board to
No, for
apply
next
for
year.
this grant.
But the grant deadline is October 1st, so they,
Yeah, this doesn't actually say what the grant is.
No.
It's just kind of an overview.
Nothing binding in the town, once it's for it. Once she wants a location, we'll take it.
I can just relay back that we're supportive of her having a community garden.
Right.
We'll relay that through. Okay, Great, thank you. That's all I have.
Any other committee reports? We're gonna need a executive session for an update on contract negotiations with City of Glens Falls regarding the sewer capacity, and as well as for an update on all town litigation.
Yes.
How's that?
We're gonna discuss this throughout. The other contract.
Yeah. Looking to discuss
That's the employment history of the.
the unnamed town. Somebody like to move that?
So,
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, executive session.
can I have one?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm raising.
All right.
Set, everybody's all set, ma'am? Okay, we're coming out of executive session, and I'd like the record to reflect that no action was taken in executive session. Item 14 on the agenda is other business. I do need to set some dates for our budget workshops. The budget will be made available to the public on Thursday at the close of business. And I know we don't have Kyle here, but we need to get some dates on the calendar. How's the calendar look for either, I'd like to do Wednesday the 6th and the 7th of October. Start at 5:30 and do an hour and a half on each day, see how far we can get. And then at the board meeting on the 12th, we can determine whether we need more days. I think last year we used 3 nights to get everything put together.
What time on the 6th?
5:30.
I'm gonna say yes, but
That works. Everybody?
I'm good on the 6th and 7th for Friday.
Are you good with those?
I'm gonna say yes.
Let's say days the 6th and 7th.
Wednesday.
Wednesday and Thursday
Yeah, I should-
of next week.
We can, so I'll reach out to Kyle. If it's a problem, then we'll just have to postpone it. You know, obviously we want all board members there.
Are we allowing 2 hours?
I was gonna do an hour and a half, 2 hours at one time. Especially if we're coming back the next day. So, do we need to, a motion establish? We do. So entertain a motion to establish a budget workshop for 5:30 on both October 6th and October 7th.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
yes.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Can I
That's,
ask one question?
yes,
I don't have my calendar with me. I was inept when I was getting ready for the meeting, but I know the library has their budget hearing coming up. I was thinking it was that first week in October. Do we have to have this room here?
No, we
for
can
budget
do it in
workshop?
the,
Is that okay?
yeah,
Okay,
as long as the public has access to
very good.
it.
You're putting that one, have a public one ask.
You could. That's all I have for other business. Anyone else have other business?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up workshops. Once again, I guess last meeting, we could schedule a workshop to work on our solar draft law. And at the time, I was told it was premature that we were waiting for some guidance from ads and markets and NYSERD. There was some discussion, I guess, we had a commissioner that perhaps they were going to work together with some guidance. Since that meeting, I've contacted both Commissioner of Ads and Markets and several people that work under them. and they weren't aware of any kind of collaboration between them and NYSERDA. But the good news is they did give, through some emails back and forth, some good opinions, information, stuff that I think will be useful for us at a workshop. So I was wanting to schedule a workshop. I've also emailed several people at NYSERDA, and I've yet to hear back from them. But I'm sure they'll be getting back in perhaps the next couple of days. So if we can schedule something out and get that information together, and everybody can look it over and digest it, and we could probably, bring it up the workshop and, get things moving again on this solar law. It's been a long time going, and I think we're kind of running out of information. So this information that we've gotten, I expect to get from NYSERDA would be beneficial for us to get together and get a workshop scheduled and keep this thing moving.
You spoke to the commissioner?
I did not speak to the commissioner. I emailed the commissioner's office. He had someone email me back. I also spoke to, or emailed two other people. One gentleman got back to me with quite a bit of information.
Oh, because you had said that you spoke to the commissioner.
The commissioner's office, I just spoke to.
Okay, so I did speak with the commissioner on Friday, and I spoke with the commissioner's office again this morning. To be clear, and I stand by my comments on the record, I said that in my conversation with the commissioner, he was, the agency was committed to working with NYSERDA to come up with viable regulations to protect farmland in New York State. I stand by that. I didn't characterize my conversation any other way. Apparently, there's been back and forth, according to the commissioner's office, from you, councilman. I was not made aware of any of the correspondence back and forth. So it's clear that you don't want me to be a part of any discussion on it. So at this time, I'm not supportive of scheduling workshop.
Okay, well, the reason that I didn't keep you updated on communications I was having with NYSERDA and the Department of Agriculture and Markets is because I let people know on the board who I thought were interested to move this thing forward. Those are the people I shared the information with. But to your point that perhaps I mistook something that you said and supplied that information to either NYSERDA or Ags and Markets. What I actually did, maybe there's something wrong with the minutes from last meeting. What I did is I took the minutes from the last meeting, where you said that supervisor recommended the board members that they hold off on any additional changes to local law. If I get direction from the Department of Agriculture and Markets, working in concert with NYSERDA to assist the town in ensuring that there is an appropriate law in place. That came right from the minutes. That's what I conveyed to both Ags and Markets and NYSERDA. So unless Leanne didn't hear it right on the audio or not, that's what you said at the last meeting.
I stand by my record.
I stand by what was put in the minutes of the meeting.
Did you say you requested some additional information from the?
From NYSERDA, yes, I have. I just haven't heard back from them. I hope to hear from the next couple of days.
You anticipate that information will be different from model one?
Well, the thing is,
That's like they already gave us.
right, and that's what I requested from them, that if anything has changed, any recommendations that they have, or anything, they have that the solar guidebook for local governments is like their thing for information. And I did put in my request to them, if there's anything that's changed recently, or they expect anything to change in the near future, please let me know. So that we can have that information to bring to our workshop. So that was the purpose of my sending. So I guess the supervisor doesn't want to move to have a workshop. I don't know what you think, Alan or John thinks. So we can move this thing, get this ball rolling.
Yeah, right. I wanted to digest this information that came over today, from this communication that was referenced that was happening.
That's why
In all honesty, my initial reaction, Councilman, is that the people, my first ones with this information is the position, and the market was sharing here doesn't align at all with, I think, some of the people are asking for it. So,
Well, I think, once again, you want to digest the whole thing, and they did put a lot of things in there on recommendations, but they also put in there, there's a line in there that said, every town, every municipality has different circumstances. So this isn't a one size fits all recommendations, that's what I read into it. Once again, you can time Unfortunately, the thing is, I think what we have is two competing agencies. One has their opinions as to what they think would fit, and the other has their opinions on what they think would fit. We have to see, I think, what the gentleman was saying there is every situation is different. It's not a one size fits all. So we kind of have to sit down and discuss those things. You can get those things that fit into the law. What's right for the town.
yeah, again, it's a lot of information to absorb, just received tonight.
Sure. Well, that's why I'm thinking, because a lot of times we set these workshops out, like, for the budget workshop, we're setting out less than a week, that's not good, but a week, that's good. But if we could set this out for weeks or so, whatever, and give us time to get our thoughts together, and then set a date where we're gonna come in here, sit down, put our cards on the table, and figure out what direction we're gonna go. That's my
You're suggesting setting something about 3 weeks, what I'd like to suggest is that I commit to have my position by next board meeting, which we can set a meeting, a workshop week from now. That wouldn't delay any, but I got to absorb all this.
Sure, understand.
Again, I'll share with you my initial thoughts on that. However, some of the people that have been in front of this board that are pro solar in the ag district, I don't think that this speaks in that direction. Let me absorb it.
Once again, there's a lot in there, and,
Some of it was pretty darn clear. And that's not, those that are pro are asking for.
I think that's what I'm doing. I don't have a problem looking at all angles of the situation and all opinions and all guidance. So this is something that obviously I didn't hide that. Everybody posted it together. Okay, that's all I got. And
My commitment is that I will absorb this and then we'll have a decision.
I
I'll
know.
workshop by the next board. That's my.
That's fair enough.
My thought is very similar, and that I'd like time to absorb this, but I know that you reach out to my server.
Sure.
It'd be nice to get a response from that agency as well, and we can, at the next board meeting, I mean, I'm assuming we will get a response prior to that.
Yeah, so I would assume.
Then we can.
Okay, my point is,
The workshop after that.
let's just keep moving forward. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Can I make a suggestion now?
Sure.
A selfish one? Since I'm the one that's kind of drafting up the law, could I get copies of all of those emails that you said went back and forth? And then anything that next year does, since I had communications with them, just send that to me, that'd be great, thanks.
Any other business? If not, privilege of the floor. And the public wish to speak, please state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to address it.
Patrick Kelly, 169 Burke Road. I appreciate you guys taking the time again to very important matter as far as what we're trying to do here. And I understand. I mean, our last couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks here, I've been working diligently with ag markets, and I started trying to get some things set up here so we can get some answers and get some closure, if you will. And some of the it's been confusing to me because based on ag markets and who I spoke with, it's been, these laws that NYSERDA has, that ag markets already have standards that are already in place. So it's been a little challenging for me, based on the different things that maybe the board might have, the council, and I know some of you have been out of state and doing other things and been very busy. I've been trying to call, emails, do all that stuff, and what you guys do is a lot. So based on the things that are happening now, we're just trying to, you know, based on the emails I've been having go out with ag and markets, and I just want to make sure if there are any new questions that the board may have. Councilman Hogan, Supervisor Krisner, Councilman Van Tassel, Councilman Donahue, you know, as far as anything that I can help alleviate and to speed this process up. It's been over 2 years as far as, you know, this project, and you know, anything that we can help or that I can do. And based on speaking to ag markets already, and the two administrators that I've spoken to already, and what they've told me based on, you know, how this works, the standard operating procedures already in place with NYSERDA and ag markets. So, and are there any new questions that you might have? Anybody, you guys? I know you have to digest this there too, and if anything that I can help with, I'd love to. So, if there's anything, I'd love to help. Question 2, or should I say, there's the payload that you guys are talking about that with the town. I'm interested in possibly purchasing it. You know, if you guys want to get rid of it, I'm pretty good at fixing things up and be able to paint. And the other option is there too. If this machine was going to be down, maybe Fink is an option there too. You could rent a payloader from Fink, and which is exit 17, and it's I mean, if it's just for 2 or 3 days or even a week, it's $50 an hour for a good sized payloader there too. It might help. The other thing is last question, or should I say, you guys had mentioned you're booking 19,000 gallons of fuel right now.
It's a request from the highway superintendent, essentially to open a PO, which allows him to purchase the fuel as necessary at the state contract.
Now, does the town purchase or book any fuel throughout the year, like the beginning of the year? Because usually what we used to do, we used to book 20 to 30,000 gallons a year of fuel and then hedge the rest. So depending on what you're using, then you've got your fuel uses on an average as far as what you use for the year. And then you would book, or should I say hedge, the second half based on what you're going to use. Based on where fuel prices are right now, they're pretty high. But like I said, it might alleviate some of these challenges throughout the year too, if you're booking, or should I say, you know, you're gonna purchase another, let's say 20,000 gallons. You know, it's hopefully not at 325, but who knows, depending on what bids you can get out there. That's what we say.
State contract price.
I'm sorry.
I said it's a state contract price.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not
323.
24.
324. Yeah. It's not off-road, right? It's definitely not off-road. Off-road fuel.
Doesn't pay, we don't pay tax.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, sure.
It's a little different circumstance because the state and the county will go out and, you know, say, we're looking to buy millions of gallons.
I understand, yeah.
And so it kind of is a hedge because we lock, the county or state locks into that price per gallon, and that's good for the duration of the contract.
I understand.
And I think that's a 1-year contract. I can't remember. I read the date in the record. But
sure.
It was at least a 1-year contract. 2-year contract. So it doesn't change over that period.
I see.
Which is less gamble involved.
No, exactly. Okay. To manage your risk. Sure. Okay, thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to be heard? If not, I have no other business. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.